mission. Blessed with wisdom and vision. Locked out of heaven's division. Earth ordinary man's prison. Born to sin with a face big chin. Bottle of gin in possession. Takes a lick in, keeps on ticking. He is a man on a mission.
Hey Google, stop. Hey Google, stop. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sullivan Project podcast. I'm your host, Harold Sullivan. Hey Google, set your volume to 50%. Hey Google, stop playing. Gotta be firm with these AIs, these technologies. In case y'all haven't tuned in before, I lost my sight a few years ago. I was born with an autoimmune disease, so I got these things to help me do things. And that's Man on a Mission. That's a song that we got created here for the podcast. And if you want to check out some other songs, some albums, some music, or previous episodes of the podcast, you can find us, the Sullivan Project podcast, on YouTube, Harold Sullivan 78, and TikTok, Harold Sullivan 78. And then you go to Facebook, Harold Sullivan, period 35. And you can call the show 724-513-1472. Leave a message, or I might answer. If you want to be on the show, be a guest, just audio or video, or just get something out if you have something to say, because all you got's right now. So, good or bad, you know what I mean? If someone did something, or you did something, just get it out now. And you can email hs19782015@outlook.com. We got a couple things to talk about, and then Chris is coming up, and there may be content not suitable for all. So first, let's talk about Superman. We got some more Superman going on. This is like the 85th anniversary, I believe. And so there's movies coming up, James Gunn, and seems promising. I mean, I'm a big Superman fan, but I'm a stickler. So there's a documentary. It's free on YouTube, actually. It's been on for years now, probably. It's about a movie, Tim Burton's Superman. It was never made. And it was after Batman 1, and Batman Returns. And it was the one that Nicolas Cage was going to be in, and Sandra Bullock, and Chris Rock, and Kevin Smith wrote one of the scripts for the Jay and Silent Bob actor, writer, director. And they got right up to where they were going to start shooting, and then Warner Brothers pulled the plug, and they just screwed Tim Burton again. He went back to them again. You know, he got screwed many times working for them. And but there's a documentary called Superman Lives, The Death of Superman, What Happened? Something like that. Superman Lives, The Death of Superman, What Happened? And it's on YouTube. It's a real legit documentary, and it has all kinds of stuff behind the scenes. And they talk about Brainiac and all the different people they wanted to be. Christopher Walken as Brainiac. Kevin Spacey, they even wanted him to be Lex Luthor back then. Of course, he ended up being Lex Luthor in the Brandon Routh Superman movie, Superman Returns. So it's pretty cool, the documentary. I recommend it. And then let's see here. We're going to talk about black comedy in America again. Some more episodes. We got Fresh Prince, where they're talking about him. There's a David Chappelle. There's a Kevin Hart episode on. For some reason, though, that one's not free. Like, you got to pay for that one. Maybe it'll come back on and be for free. But very good. Fresh Prince. It actually had Will Smith talking a lot in it instead of, you know, how they usually have the higher people not talk in the documentaries and shows, and everybody else talks around them. So Will Smith talked about the idea for them writing the jingle for the show, and how he became the star of the show, and it was based on a semi-true story, which was cool. I knew that already, being a fan of the show. So, and then let's see here. Recently, I've heard that they have baby farms. This is this thing where they can take and they can strip DNA, and they can take an egg and they can uh, make whatever DNA they want and put it in the egg and then impregnate. It's like, whoa, my gosh. It's a little scientific, but what is this coming to? And now they have AI brains that scientists, instead of, it takes a lot of power to use AI. So instead of going the normal ways, quote unquote, now they're creating fake brains out of human DNA to hook up to the AI to run the AI. I mean, recently I talked about robot cops and then a robot that committed suicide that jumped down some steps, uh, and all these other things. They got robots that they're growing fake skin on now. Now they're growing fake brains for robots. Talk about Terminator and all these other apocalypse movies. Really gonna have people are doing it to themselves. It's like they wrote their own future in a movie, and now they're making it. You know. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, Ghostbusters 2 on card lyrics to soundtracks.
Just so I take
Second,
notes.
Georgia the
Being
Believer album or
disabled.
Forrest Gump. Third, black comedy Superman Stepdad Baby Farm AI Brain.
All right, so and then we're gonna get to some more difficult stuff, and then we're gonna get into Chris, and Chris being a fireman, as a fireman or fireman, because we have an accent. It's not firemen because it's not plural. See, I've been writing songs, and so I've been like figuring out this because we were not taught proper in my schools in this area, proper English, I should say. So, so yeah, I wanted to talk about my stepfather a little bit, and we talked about my mother recently, I guess. And I've done that a little bit here and there, but not like a whole.
Has finished loading.
That's the computer talking over there. I got some music I'm working on. Uh, like I said, I'm blind, but you know what? God got me here to do something. I'm still going. We're all here for something. We're not just here. So I'm 46, and my stepdad died a few years back. My mom died 7 years ago, and my dad 7 years ago. My stepdad, I'm not sure, but I found out probably 5 or 6 years ago that he passed away. I think, or maybe somewhere around there. I don't know. But anyway, my mom met him when I was around 10 or 11, and my stepdad was actually the neighborhood crack uh, head, whatever. And it wasn't a joke. He was the guy that would come fix anything for $10, but he really didn't fix the stuff a lot of times. I kid you not. One time a ceiling fan almost decapitated me, and my mom grabbed me and got me out of the way because it was shaking real bad. Because she gave him the money to put it up, and then she left and went to bingo, and he didn't do it right or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, she ended up marrying him after they dated for only a little bit, maybe a couple of weeks seriously. But we lived in that town for a little bit, and it wasn't a normal marriage from the beginning. He pretty much wanted to use her for disability money or whatever, but he was a handyman, like I said, and he was very abusive to her. He used to beat her and verbally abuse her, verbally abused me and beat me when I was younger until my dad turned him into child services. Okay, but when they met each other, he had been accused of child molestation by his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend, actually ex-girlfriend. I don't think they were married, and her daughter. And my mom just was like, "Well, that's just the ex is saying that, blah blah blah," to get back at him. But he actually did go to jail, and it's the only time I went to jail and visited someone. I remember I was a young teenager, and I saw him on the other side of the glass and all that. My mom was talking to him through a phone. I think, like in the movies, man. Nobody should have to go through that. But I went, and so that happened, okay? And then my mom was married to him, with him for so many years, man. All the way up until, like I said, maybe 7, 8 years ago. I don't even think they ever got divorced. But she threw him out the last time and he didn't come back. And she used to throw them out all the time and call the police, or I'd go all the way down to the police station with no shirt on, the power wheelchair when I had sight to tell them my mommy's getting beat up by my stepdad. And she always would let him back in. I don't understand why the women, they would even choose the guy over their kids because I told her that before. And I left and went to my sister's and went to my dad's and came back because you want to be with mommy, you know. And I love them both, though. I mean, no matter what. My stepdad's come and visited me since he passed away, and I'm like, we didn't even have all that when we were alive. He was alive, but now he's comfortable enough, I guess, since I can sense him. So yeah, so he did. Those things happen. It's terrible. And one time I actually did sit on his lap, driving a van that I had. We had all this. They had a van we had donated. Somebody bought with a lift in it, power wheelchair lift, a TV, couch, VCR combo with a TV at the time, couch bed, and this was back in like the '90s. All that was high tech, and he wrecked it on their way back on the honeymoon, or on the way there on the honeymoon. I don't know. They went to Niagara Falls to gamble. They were both addicts in many ways. So, uh, but yeah, he was like, you want to, drive the steering wheel. So yeah, I sat on his lap for like 2 seconds. Little did I know any of that really at the time, or paid attention, or. But that's really the only time I ever got to try to steer a vehicle in my life. Like, oh, so, you know what I mean? But anyway, and then I used to cringe whenever he would talk to my niece, my nephews, and not really my niece because she didn't come around, but and just knowing what, you know what I mean. But then here's the kicker, okay? After my mom threw him out the last time, where he just left and didn't come back again, he ended up having another house with all kinds of money, and the lady he was dating, here he was dating her daughter who was a teenager, and ended up having a second child to the lady who was, I guess one was underage when she was 16, and then another one when she was 18, so he had two to her. And the mother turned him in because he quit paying her off, basically. He's like, I ain't gonna. So the mother was okay with it, the older lady, as long as he was paying everything and doing everything they said. And he had a house. The police said they found guns in there and drugs, and he actually went to jail again for that, but didn't go for very long because I guess he had a lot of money and he could pay and get his way out. Because he asked me if I wanted to stay in the house to, or protect it, or just make sure so someone was in there while he was away, quote unquote, but didn't tell me why he was going away. I found out that afterwards. This was, yeah, just a few years back before he died and before I lost my sight. So, my God, you never know. You know what I mean? And my mom probably knew some of that, or she just shrugged it off. But they never had kids together. But he ended up having, I guess, a couple. And he was 10 years younger than my mom, uh, my stepdad. And my dad was 10 years older than my mom. So that's like a 20-year difference. Something, I'm telling you. All kinds of stuff in my past with my family. Don't Didn't know, but I do want to know, but I can't know because mostly everybody's gone. So love's a choice, and love's a choice, and so's to hate and cherish who you got. Who brought you. Dance with them. So hopefully we got her going. I got a busted finger out. All right, what's up, everyone? We got Chris here. What's up, Chris?
What's up?
Nothing. Yeah, like I don't know if you had this problem when you get older. Do your nails break different, like down the middle instead of on the side? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, like how they'll usually, or if they get longer, they'll get like a little, like on the side, like a little, like a little split. But it's when you get older, they crack in the middle instead, like straight in the middle instead of on the side. And then you got a piece on both sides that starts to come off, and then it hurts really bad because you got two little. So I got that right now going. Like I got two little corners hanging off. You know what I mean? Because it's split in the middle. Oh my God! And I can't use the thingies. I need someone to help me with the nail cutters for my hands. So it hurts really bad. And it's right where I gotta push on my remotes and stuff with my finger, my first finger on my right hand. So, what's up with your health though? Is your health good and everything right now?
It's okay. I had a bad day yesterday.
Oh boy. What, the diabetes?
Yeah, sugar was up. Yeah.
And then you just
It
feel,
was up and down like a top.
you feel crappy and your stomach's all upset
Yeah.
and tired. Does it make you tired too?
It can.
Yeah. See, I have a lot of that stuff too, but a lot of effects are the same, different things. You know, that's what I mean. Doctors are just getting they get paid to practice, right? You know what I mean? And the weatherman predicts. Isn't that funny? But the doctors, they don't know. There's a million things could be wrong with you, and they just pick one thing. But a lot of different symptoms. You know, I have a lot of that stuff too. But I might not have diabetes. You know what I mean? So
I don't think you do. No.
they told me I might have pre-diabetes years ago when I went. Because I used to have a bowl of candy. I used to eat a candy bar before bed every night, and then I
can't do that.
I had a bowl of candy. That was when I was younger, 20 years ago. And then I had a bowl of candy. I would just have sitting around with like bottle caps, M&Ms, uh, Skittles, you know, Reese's Pieces, all the little tiny things.
That's all sugar.
I know. And then I would just sit and just eat like 5, 6 at a time during the day, all day. Disgusting, you know. And it's like you give yourself diabetes, you know. But remember how I've been saying about my leg and my ear? My ears finally have stopped running now after about 9, 10 months. And thank God on that. I don't have nothing to knock on, no wood, but hopefully it's okay now. And my angels cleared it up, you know what I mean? And I don't have to go to the doctor. But my ear was literally, since I got out of hospitals and stuff, in case y'all haven't tuned in before, check out previous episodes on YouTube and TikTok. But I was in the hospital in a respite for a minute. But yeah, when I got out of there, ever since then, man, I've been sick and in pain and I think I just took all that sickness in. That's why I don't go to doctors or hospitals. Because somebody as sensitive as me, I can't deal with that. I take that could kill me, literally, you know what I mean? If I'm around somebody sick long enough and I can get sick, I can't recover from that. But I've been having ear problems since then. And then my one leg, remember I was telling you about?
Yeah.
So something just dawned on me recently. I'm like, wait a minute, I got to do something about this leg because I'm thinking I got something bad injured in my leg because it was hurting so bad. And then I was like, wait a minute. Here, okay, we took out my cushion, right? They brought it to the hospital for me because I didn't have nothing to sit on. And I have to have something special with my legs and stuff. I get sores. And I can only sit this one certain way. And I'm in pain anyways, really, you know, no matter what. But, so they brought the cushion, they took it out of the wheelchair. So you know what, I'm thinking they didn't put the cushion back all the way to the front of the wheelchair. So I was sitting on it, and the bottom of the seat was cutting into the back of my leg for like the last 9 months. And that's why I was hurting so bad. But I'm blind, I can't see. I lost my sight a couple of years ago. So I didn't know that my leg is rubbing the metal part instead of the cushion. And all we had to do is take the cushion out and move it forward an inch. You know what I mean? My God, nobody could tell. Nobody said, hey, you know, and I've been going through all this pain thinking something like, why is my leg hurting so bad all of a sudden? Here it's because it was rubbing, and it wasn't rubbing the cushion, it was rubbing the like pointy, sharp part of the wheelchair under my knee there. So we moved it like a week or so ago, and I put a bandage on under my knee because it's so tender. If you just touch my leg, it jumps. Like it feels like I got a bloody cut under there, and it's starting to feel better now. Well, way better. But can you believe I'm going through all that? Is it just because the cushion was in the wrong spot? Is that something?
Wouldn't surprise me.
I couldn't see, and nobody told me. My brother-in-law, my sister, nobody said, hey, wait a minute, look, maybe this cushion is not far up enough. You know, I needed it farther up so that I could scoot back more on the seat, right? So that it wasn't cutting in under my leg. So now I fixed that, hopefully, and it's healing under there. I got one of them big bandages that you put on like your knee if you get scraped under the knee, right where that tendon, because it's right where that tendon is. That it's a large artery there, right under your knee, where your knee bends, like right there, and that's where it hurts like heck. It's like somebody's been sawing it back and forth. It hurts so bad, God. I'm telling you, man. The pains I got just sitting here, you know. But I've been sitting on my butt for almost 40 years in this wheelchair. So, in case y'all haven't tuned in before, yeah, me and Chris have known each other almost 40 years now. I'm 46. And we probably met when I was around 7 or 8. Probably, I would think. Around 6, maybe. But we went to elementary school. It was for disabled people at the time, quote unquote. And then we moved away from each other. And then after I lost my sight, Spirit kept giving me the number to remember Chris's landline. And by God, his mom still had the number. I don't even know how people can have landlines. Is that like a special thing? You know what I mean? How can you still have in 2025? But thank God she still had it a couple years ago, so I could get a hold of you, leave you that message, you know. Because you know what I mean? How do I remember your number? It just kept coming into my mind. I could see it in my mind, you know. Your house number after all those years, and your mom still had it. And I was like, you know what? I'll try. You know what I mean? Because something just told me, get a hold of Chris, talk to him. There's no reason you guys can't be friends still and be friends again. You know what I mean? And that doesn't happen too often after 30 or 40 years of people regaining contact. And now we're doing this. And check this out now. Last time I told you how many subscribers we had. It was in 130 something on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And then recently, a couple days ago, as we're recording this, we're at 174. Thank God for that. So in the last few months, we've had almost 40 subscribers added on YouTube. And that's an accomplishment, in my opinion, because YouTube is the harder one to get people, because they'll watch stuff, but for them to hit the subscribe button, you know what I mean? That means every time you upload something, they'll get a notification. That means they want to know that you're doing that, you know what I mean? They're not just randomly watching your video or listening to your stuff. So we're almost at 200. I never thought I'd get 100. I wasn't really having a goal. So let's get 200 by the end of this year. You know, we're just starting. So and we're up over 200 podcasts right now. And we just had Kane Hodder. And then we had Laura Park Lincoln again. I was telling you about her. I think she's the first repeat celebrity cameo that I've had. And she was telling me about that, Roseblood, the Friday the 13th fan film that she actually was in. And I recommend that to people on YouTube to check that out. I don't want to spoil it but it did have a couple cast members from Friday the 13th, Part 7 in it. And it's a pretty good one. And I told Chris about it recently, because we have our own ideas about some stuff. I'd love to get her. What if I could get her to be in a trailer of mine? You know, even if it's just her voice, right? For voiceover. So I'm thinking about that. I could get a trailer and actually have Laura Park Lincoln from Friday the 13th Part 7 do a part for the trailer. Even just a voice, that would be sweet. That will add to it and make it more real, you know. So that's an idea that I got for the future. But, so we're doing that. And then I want to talk to you about the Three Stooges here a minute. I never asked you about the Three Stooges movie, the 2012. Was it 2012?
Yeah, they made a movie. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So after all those years, finally, because I know you're the biggest fan. I mean, you got me into them when we were young. You used to do run around doing all the characters. So when they finally came out with a movie, what did you think?
It was okay.
Especially about who played the guys. You know, because that's the hardest part, about who played Larry, Curly, Moe, right? All right, so you thought the actors were pretty good spot on, pretty much?
Yeah, they didn't do it too bad.
Nah. I think
Original Stooges were the best.
Huh?
Original Stooges were the best.
Of course, all the original ones were the best. Shemp,
Yeah.
Curly Joe, you know, all the ones that people don't know about. Yeah, because they think that there's only Three Stooges, and there's 6 of them? 6, 7 maybe? They started recasting Curly's after, Curly lookalikes or wannabes, because they knew Curly was the coolest one, you know. But that's sad. What happened to Curly? He had a stroke, right? And he couldn't even talk or nothing.
He had a couple strokes, yeah.
Jesus. But he was, I remember he used to get on the floor and spin around and do all that stuff. just nuts, you know. I was just talking about that, how they were so funny, the Three Stooges, you know. But so you didn't have a real problem with Jersey Shore and all that. I mean, they were on the Jersey Shore. I mean, at the time, that was the thing. And I like the whole idea with the orphanage. You know, they were left there, and then they were raised by the nuns. And then you have what's her name, Jane Lynch, as the head lady, and they wanted to get money and go back and save the. So, but you thought the movie was good, though, the Three Stooges.
Yeah, it was okay.
For years they had, was it? It was Jim Carrey, right? He was attached to play Curly. He was going to gain the weight. That's what they said. Uh, Del Toro, Benicio Del Toro was supposed to be Mo, and Sean Penn was going to be Larry, right? Did you ever hear that?
Yeah.
That was for a long time that was supposed to be the cast. I don't know if that would have how that would have been, but I think they did about as good as they could. There was a TV movie though. I don't know if you ever saw that years ago. I think it was on like Lifetime or something actually. It was really good. It was sad though, but those guys were spot on. And I think Michael Chiklis played Curly. Do you remember that? That actor? Yeah, that was a really.
Briefly.
Yeah, he was really good. That's the one where they showed Curly having a stroke, and they went in to see him. He had a mustache and stuff. Remember, Curly did. He had to shave off his mustache, but he was originally had a mustache. Curly did, and it was sad, that movie, but it was a good one. It was I forget what it was called, maybe just the Stooges or something. They were used and exploited too. You know they didn't make no money at all. Them Three Stooges, they made peanuts literally for all the money they brought to studios and that guy. What was that guy? Their manager, just like Elvis got ripped off. They didn't know back in the day what they were worth. The Three Stooges did how many hundreds of episodes plus movies and didn't make a dollar hardly. You know, and had what to show for it. What's their family got to show? I hope they were smart enough to buy some kind of royalties so that or whatever so that they get paid. Their family gets paid every time. You know, there's something to do with Stooges. You know what I mean? Because a lot of that didn't happen. Like when the original Superman, the original owners gave up the rights and they didn't get paid anything, the family, until 1978 when they made the movie Superman. Richard Donner, the director, went and fought for the rights to the original, to get the family, to the original creators of Superman to get that money. You know what I mean? Because they created Superman. They should get money. Is that your mom?
Yeah.
What did you find out her birthday? Is it 51 like you said?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's her first name? I always call her Mom.
Georgia.
Georgia, that's right. Your dad's Louis or Lewis? What do you...
Lewis.
Lewis? Never call him...
Everybody call him Louis, but they call him Lewis.
Yeah, I remember Louis, yeah. And Georgia, I remember I told you like that song, Georgia. Did she like that song, Georgia, on My Mind? She ever heard that? I
don't know.
I wonder if her dad
I'll
ever...
have to ask her.
Yeah, ask her if her dad ever played that for her, trying to be romantical. That's a word I made up a long time ago. People started using it in the 90s. And I was really young, romantical. But I bet you your dad played that for her, Georgia. The one by Ray Charles.
I would imagine he did. I don't know.
Because of her name, and there's not too many songs like... Yeah, it was romantic. I told you it makes me sad, though, because of Quantum Leap in the final episode. And if Quantum Leap fans don't know what I'm talking about there, I don't want to spoil that. But yeah, so 1951, yeah, I'm going to do a report for her. She's a Scorpio, I already found that out. It's 11/10/1951, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All them ones. You see what I remember I told you one, right? 11, and then you have a 1 and a 10, right? And then you have 1951, you got two more ones. And when you add them all up together and you bring them down, your mom actually has a life path number of 1. I'll tell you what that means whenever I do the whole thing. But that's good, you know. Number 1 is good because that's like the number of all, you know. And then she's a water, and then the topaz is her birthstone. She knows that probably already. And those are usually blue, so that's a good color, blue. That's a good spiritual color, the color blue. But yeah, so we talked about the Three Stooges. Let me make sure I got everything here, because we want to get into firefighting, man. Hey, Ziggy, what are my stickies? Hey, Ziggy, what are my stickies?
I found 13 notes. First note, Rose Blood, Stepdad, Sally Awards, Three Stooges, The Believer,
Ziggy, stop.
Forrest Gump.
Hey, Ziggy, stop. Let me give you an update. We just did the Sully Awards, all right? We were working on those, so I got the finalists, and we did, I can't remember them all, but I'll give you a couple of the ones that won. As far as the pre-Sullys, as far as best movie presidents, we decided Bill Pullman from Independence Day, and he was in Spaceballs, and he was in Friday the 13th Part 5. But because he got right in the action, you know what I mean. He was flying, he was trying to kill the aliens and the president. So and the pre-Sully, and then the regular the Sully Awards. As far as a couple you might be interested in, I actually had Freddie in there for Best Kiss. If you remember in Part 4 when he won a suck face.
Yeah,
That was sick, right? So I had that in there, but he didn't win. But Kane Hodder as Jason wins for Best New York Scene in a movie. And Jason Takes Manhattan. I had to give it to Kane, you know what I mean? And the movie Best New York Scene is Jason Takes Manhattan. And I'm going to write him a note on Cameo and tell him about that. Maybe he'd be interested to know he won a Sully Award, right? But we did that. And then Best Poop Scene, that's another one I can remember, is Caddyshack. Remember that with the candy bar in the pool?
Think so. It's been a while.
Yeah. So that one, there's a couple I remember, so I want to give you updates on those. If y'all want to check that out, previous episodes on YouTube, TikTok, Harold Sullivan 78, and Facebook, Harold Sullivan period 35. And I got a couple of albums out. Right now I just did It's All in Your Head. It's a song I wrote. You ever heard that? Who hasn't heard that, right? Have you ever heard that before? It's All in Your Head. Well, of course, I grew up in an abusive family, so I used to hear that a lot. But that's going to be one of the songs I'm releasing. And because I'm writing stuff that's for real, you know what I'm saying? I think that helps. People want to hear what you've been through. And my mom, people used to tell me everything I said was like made up. It's all in your head, you know. That's not true. But that's how they brainwash you. They try to make you think that way. And you know, be an individual. But we're going to talk about firefighting. And you said you were volunteer fire.
Yeah, with Killbuck. Yeah.
Killbuck. Wow.
Killbuck Township Volunteer Fire Company, yeah.
See, this is the question I had. I asked my sister. I pondered this. I said, what's the difference between a volunteer fire department, or volunteer fireman, and a regular fireman? Why aren't all firemen volunteers? You're taking the same risk, right? But you just ain't getting paid.
Yeah, you know, we never got paid.
Jesus. See, I didn't know there was a difference. I thought that all firemen...
You could be a paid firefighter, yeah. You could be a paid firefighter, volunteer firefighter.
See? I thought they were all volunteer. They just it didn't dawn on me that there's two different ones. Like, why? There's no volunteer cops, is there? There's no volunteer ambulances, right?
Yeah, there's volunteer paramedics, yeah.
Oh, there is volunteer paramedics? But, so somebody stick an IV in you and trying to save your life, they could be volunteer. Don't they still have to have some kind of degree, though? They gotta have something.
Yeah, you gotta have training. Yeah, you just can't poke somebody with a, yeah.
I was gonna say, because I don't know if I'd be trusting someone talking about they're a volunteer paramedic. You know what I mean? Good God. But I never thought of it, you know. But that has to be something. I mean, okay, I can see it. Say you wake up, your house is on fire, you try to save somebody, or you're going down the street and it just kicks in, you know. And you run in the building and try to, but for that to be your job, and every day you're waiting for that call, you might have to go out, and you still got to get ready. You know what I mean? Even if they don't.
You go out in the weather, you go out in anything. Rain, snow, blizzards.
And even if you don't get the call, you still got to get ready, like inside your body, like for that hyped up to get ready to go out and say. You can't be like, oh, I don't want to work today. You have to save a life. You know that. Jesus, I can't imagine that. I didn't even know, like I said, because we hadn't talked for a while. And I know you said you worked at Giant Eagle when you retired. So you worked there 17 years, right?
16.
16?
Yeah.
And you volunteer fire? How long did you do that?
About 5 years.
And your dad, was he volunteer or he did the whole full deal?
My dad was volunteer. My dad and grandfather were volunteer.
Okay, but he did it a long time too, or longer than 5?
Oh, yeah.
He did that after he what did he do before that as like a regular job?
He had the lawn business.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right. And what did your mom do?
She did a bunch of things different.
Didn't she teach? I forgot what she did. She did something. I can't remember. I know they were always doing something good. I know that. And then your dad became a fireman. Jesus. And then you went with him. And you did fireman with him, Georgia. And Lewis, but we call him Louie sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. And wasn't that Tully's name from Ghostbusters? Lewis?
Lewis Tully.
Yeah, see, there you go. Another coordination or similarity, whatever. Okay, so what was that like? Now, I was asking you about the Jaws of Life or whatever, because I remember in elementary school we had to go off for an assembly where the policeman and the fireman came and he showed us how they ripped the roof off of a car. That was scary, the noise and the glass, and like we had to be so many far away from it. They had like a rope around it or whatever, the tape. And did you do that?
Yeah, we did that.
Someone was in that thing?
Yeah.
How the hell? What was that? Did you operate it, or you just was like making sure everything was all right? Like what was
We
your?
had to cut a guy out of a car once.
And what did you do as your part? Did you do the cutting, or did you go up and make sure he was okay while they cut, or how does this work? Like I got no clue. How many people does that take? To get
It's about 2 or 3 guys.
Okay, so if a guy is stuck in the car, you got to get him cut out. It wasn't on fire, nothing leaking out, no smelly stuff, right? Or was it? Okay, so he was just stuck in the car from after the accident?
Yeah, he was drunk. Yeah.
Where did he hit, on the front or the side, or what?
He hit a tree.
Right in the front?
Yeah.
And you had to cut the roof off or the side to get him out?
We pried the door open to get him out.
Jesus. And what is that machine? It's like a giant can opener, right?
Yeah, it's like a can opener. Yeah, it pries the door away from the frame.
And it's electric though? It goes like on a stud, like down or up or something? Right? Because they don't do it manually like a chainsaw, right? It cuts it's electronic. It cuts like a lock kind of, right?
Yeah.
It cuts down and then down again, like it goes a little bit by itself. It doesn't nobody's like holding like a chainsaw and trying to cut a perfect line to get the guy out, because that would be too hard to do. Wow. And you got him out of there, and then what? They had to put him.
The paramedics took him. Yeah.
Was his legs and stuff, and like was he messed up?
Oh yeah, he was messed up. Yeah.
So he couldn't walk or nothing. They had to
No.
God, blood and stuff. Ugh.
Oh yeah.
You got to see how I can't do that. I can't see blood. The most blood I ever saw in my life, I kid you not, I was in my own apartment, right, when I lived on 6th Street. Okay, and I had this thing in my ear that I was messing with. They told you don't put Q-tips in your ears, but everybody does. And I popped it, and here I must have had like some kind of thing that was filling up with blood in my ear, like a balloon. And I'm not lying. Buckets of blood started pouring out of my right ear, down my chest. I could feel it. You'll never, when you feel blood like that, it's just, you'll never forget that. And I hurry up and called the ambulance. And it took about 15 to 20 minutes, literally, 911. I had time to go, get the curtain on, unlock my bedroom door, sit there while it's just pouring out of my ear. I could feel it. And I almost thought about grabbing a damn camera and recording it, because that's how, like, at the time I wasn't in the right head anyways. I was not as clear mentally as far as drugs, alcohol, and all that. And I was thinking, man, at least I'm going to sit here and get it on video, because it's the worst, most blood I ever saw. Like, I didn't think someone could have that much come out of their head and still live, literally. It wasn't a cup of blood. It was 2, 3, 4 cups, like coffee mugs, if you can imagine that, just pouring out of my ear. And when I went to the emergency room, I was there, and then they said it looked like a balloon, like a condom hanging outside of my ear. I thought I injured my brain or something, literally, because there was this big bag of skin hanging out of my head. And they just pulled it off, and they said, no, I had some kind of thing building up in my ear like a balloon with blood in it. So it's a good thing I popped it, because what if I was laying down, and where would the blood go? I don't know. But that was scary. So much blood. came out of my ear, and it turned dark too. It was just frightful. It was real hot though, coming out, like real hot, and it went down all over my chest. And they left it on me too, man. And you know how hard that is to get dry blood off when it gets on you? My sister had to scrape me when I got home, like really hard to get that off. It was all over my ear, my head, my body, my shoulder. Because I was sitting there with no shirt on when I popped it, and it just started pouring out. And it took them 15, 20 minutes. Like I said, I could have bled to death out of my head. I thought I was. I thought my brain was hanging out of my head. Because it was like a big clear sack hanging out like a balloon, like somebody popped a balloon, you know? That's gross. But yeah, so you had to save that guy. Did you run in a building that was on fire?
Oh, you had to have your air mask on and your bottle and that.
But you ran into a building that was on fire before.
Yeah.
My God.
Mm-hmm.
And carried people out?
No, it was a garage fire we had.
Okay.
It was an abandoned building. It was arson.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Just to get some, and you knew it? So you guys, oh, here's a good, see, you did a good thing there. Okay, so you guys do investigate a little bit of work, do investigative work, right? So if you guys figure that out, then you can relay that on, so they know right away that wasn't an accident, because there's certain things that you'll know to lead you to, it's an arson, right?
Yeah, it was deliberately set.
Okay. And so the police and all that will already know because you guys figured that out, right? So you work with them and you tell them, hey, this is what we believe, this is what we found, A, B, C, D. Or do the cops come first? The cops don't come first and tell you it was arson. You figure that out and tell them, right? You all work together.
Oh, yeah, we call the fire marshal to come investigate, yeah.
And then the cops come with the charges afterwards, after you figure
if they
out.
Catch the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, see?
It's all set.
I didn't know how that works, but this is people don't know this. This is knowledge. Yeah. Firemen, I mean, even though you're volunteer though, Jesus. And so you actually did go to fires, and you did go in. And what about the pole thingy? That's everybody wants to know that. Did you have a pole, and you did go slide down the pole like Ghostbusters? Did you do that?
No, we didn't have a pole.
No, okay. Did you ever do that once at any of them, just to try it?
No, I never did.
I know once on a couple we didn't have one because it was one floor. I don't know if you ever. I think you went. Did you ever? Was I in West Alacopa? I was in Logstown when you came and picked me up to take me to your house when I was young, right? I was in Logstown.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, West Alacopa we had a fire department, but it was only one floor. And I could swear it was never open because the doors were always closed. But once in a while, I think they used to take out the fire truck, or they would open the door and they would hose it down, like they would wash it in the summer. But yeah, there was no pole in there because there was no second floor. But I always wondered, what that was like, and But wow, you saved lives. Well, you did. You helped out. You could have saved lives.
It was a township. It was small. We didn't get that many calls,
but still, you did it. You did what you had to do. And that one guy there, I'm sure he was happy you got him out of that daggone car. You know what I mean? He could have died in there, bled to death or whatever. He was injured. So, that's your hero. You know what I mean? I didn't even know. And then somehow I just asked you, right? Recently, I was like, what I do? I just asked you what all you did. What after you retired or whatever. Something like that. And you said you were a volunteer fireman. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of, yeah.
So Chris was a fireman, y'all. But we're going to get ready to end the podcast. And we got what? Steelers are out of the thing already, so we're done with them. Penguins ain't really doing any good. They can't get above 500. But we're going to try. We're going to keep on going.
Yeah.
Be the light. We all got stories. Everyone has a story. Right?
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. Because this ain't it. You know what I mean? There's a documentary on right now. I don't know if you get Hulu on that. Those are them like internet free channels. But they did finally bring out a couple I've been waiting on. And one of them is called Escape the Matrix. About the movie The Matrix. And there's a lot of theories that people say that we're living in a virtual reality. And this isn't really real right here. You know what I mean? And the more I hear that, the more I believe that. It's just hard to understand. But in this documentary, it said the guy says we're living our own imagination. So think about that, right? That this is our imagination. This isn't real. I mean, it's real to us, right? But it's not really as real as we think it is. And and before we go, I'm gonna give you this to kind of compare to. All right, think about the Wi-Fi and the internet and stuff, all that, right? It's just signals and waves and gamma, all, like everything, alpha waves. It's stuff that we can't see and hear usually. All right, and when it gets to the computer or your phone or whatever, what happens? It turns into pictures, music, videos. It's in a different form though. It's completely. It's the same thing though. Something changes it, transforms it into that, right? So same thing with our body, right? Everything we see and hear, touch, smell, all those senses, our body translates them into what we perceive as our reality. Okay, the signals, just like a computer. Does it make sense? It kind of makes a little bit of sense when you think about it that way. So our imagination is our reality is our own imagination. I haven't finished all the episodes yet, but it made me think. I'm like, oh, I gotta really think about that one. And it's true. We all live our own reality, right? Because your reality is your reality. Nobody else has experienced the memories you've had. Have done the things you've done, except for you. You might have shared stuff with other people, but your reality is your reality. It's unique to you. So he says that we're living in this. I haven't got to the part where who's creating the Matrix or whatever, or does he even mean it that way? I don't know. But he basically says that we're all creating our own existence, which is true too. We create our own world. You have to make choices, and there's consequence. But it's called Escape the Matrix, and it's on if you want to check that out. I know you got more channels now. You said so. It's some deep stuff. But some people they're okay with just this is life. I'm gonna live it. And I'm going to do the best I can, and that's fine, you know what I mean? But my brain is so out there that I want to know the deeper stuff if I can figure it out, because I've been close to death so many times that I'm like, I know there's something else going on. It can't be just us walking around on this planet Earth. There's no way that there's just us. I don't know what is out there, but it's not just us, But we'll be back shortly, though, and we're going to go let Chris go. And love is a choice, and so is to hate, y'all.
Yeah, you folks take care of a good night. Yep.
Yep.